So today we are going to talk about love. I just went on this adventure and I absolutely had just an amazing time. And I thought a lot about things that I love and people that I love and self-love and everything that Your Own University stands for in teaching self-love and teaching our value and our importance and what it feels like when we run up into resistance or our ability to love is greater than or less than. So today we're going to talk about that. Join us at Your Own University, where you continue to discover the ultimate you. Like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. You're not going to want to miss a bit of this. Oh, love. Love is an interesting concept. You know, I love my friends. I love things that I do. It fills me with energy. It fills me with light. And as I've gone through this journey, and maybe you can relate, I have expanded and expanded and expanded my capacity to love. And the capacity to love expands as I learn to love myself, right? So if you're at Your Own University, and you're getting our daily love letters and you're putting into practice those 10-minute practices to just expand your love, you are going to expand your ability to receive love, and you're also going to expand your ability to love somebody else or something else. However, when that love there's a dissonance, there's like a nervousness, there's like this like clenching down, there's like this protective mechanism that happens around love. So we're going to talk today about a couple things that I recognize in myself as well as my clients that happens when you are expanding in your ability to love. Things that happen in relationship when you're expanding your ability to love. And things that happen in your life around you when you're expanding your ability to love. So you don't wither and fall away, but you can stand up really brightly to it and recognize it. So the first thing that came to me as I was doing this adventure this weekend, which was a 23-mile hike into the backcountry of Alaska over some glaciers, a lot of huge boulder rocks, like as big as me. I'm climbing over these rocks, right, with a big pack on my back and all of our supplies between me and Bear. And so we're climbing over these mountains and everything, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, part of me is thinking, well, I love myself and I love adventure, and this is why I'm out here. I'm doing this because I'm going to find adventure. I'm doing this because I'm going to test my body. I'm doing this because I love nature and this view and everything around me, right? So part of me is thinking this. Part of me is thinking this is not love at all, because my leg isn't as long as these rocks and I'm going to die, right? I'm gonna fall down this thing. I'm gonna die. And the other part of me is really trusting that everything I desire, everything I require is right there, including a stick up and a hand up and a direction from Bear of where to put my foot and how to go in order to keep moving forward in this beautiful, majestic area that we were in. So that's one way I was thinking about how love is very double-sided, right? There's this like love for pushing our limits, to love like calls us to be greater than we are, it breaks us open. So let's talk about these two sides of love and how they relate to you. And let's talk about this expansion and your ability, right? Because it's so cool to understand how we live in this paradigm of growth and opportunity. So the first side of love is stepping into what you want, right? I just explained it as far as this hike goes and those boulders. It's like stepping into what you want It's about claiming who you are. It's about deciding what you like. So the first step to really falling in love and finding love in your life is to decide what you like. Who are you? What do you want to experience? What values do you hold close to your heart? What will you compromise on, and what will you absolutely not compromise on? What are bad habits that you have that maybe you want somebody to be able to accept? What are good habits that you have that you want to meet with somebody who is going to support and really help you expand those habits? This is really important to understand. So one thing just relating to this trip is I know that I love nature. I know that I love adventure, and I know that I love to go all in. And one thing about backcountry hiking and those kind of adventures is once you're there, like there's no turning back. Like you just got to keep going, right? You just keep going until you get out, right? Just trusting that you're going to get out, that you are going to find that place, you're going to reach that goal, that you are going to be embraced at the end, that you're going to feel that love, that accomplishment, that support, and those desires that you require at the end. So one thing about love is knowing what you like. Now, if I was put in a situation, let's say that a whole group of my friends wanted to go to the mall and go shopping for a day, right? And they're really excited to go shopping. And I was like, okay, I'll do that because I love you so much. I'll go and I'll do that. That would not be love for me at all. I would be all in, I'd be there, but I will tell you, I would be like miserable. You can ask my best friend. And you can ask my kids, like I get to a point when it comes to malls and shopping and stuff that I'm just like, I gotta get out of here, I gotta leave, right? So putting myself in that situation would not be self-love, right? That would actually be loving another. Where putting myself in this situation, yeah, I'm in the middle of backcountry. I don't wanna be there alone, that's for sure. There's some friggin' scary things happening there and ways that I needed help to maneuver and get over things. However, the whole experience itself was in my alignment of knowing myself. All right, so that's really important. Step one, know yourself, what you value, and lean into those things that you value. Step two, that expansion, that all-in expansion. This is really challenging at times because there's a lot of vulnerability when we're looking at love, right? First thing is like, is this person, is this thing something that I can love? Is this alignment working for me, or is this alignment not working for me? This is huge. So going up those boulders, yeah, this was something I could love. Being on all fours, I was managing my pack. The more confident I got, the better I felt about it. At the end, I was like, I prefer the boulders over something else except the dark, but that's a different story. And I was just really enjoying the whole experience, right? Now, there was pieces in those boulders where I had to stretch, where I had to bring faith, where I had to really pull into loving the experience itself and not looking at exactly what was right in front of me. And this was the expansion part. This is kind of the heartbreak part. This is the part where it's like, okay, I'm all in. There's no turning back, but what do I do? How do I get over this boulder? How do I compromise? How do I receive help? How do I trust this process? How do I compromise in order to get over this boulder or get down this hill or get across this glacier or find the path again, right? How do I do this? This is your act of faith when it comes to love. This is self-love in action. This is that expansion part where you're leaning into the unknown and you still have to be present in the moment and navigate around this. This is also when step 3 comes into play, and that is boundaries, right? Boundaries. And boundaries come when you know what you want, you know what you need, and you're allowing that to be your guide, but you're also really willing to ask, right? The big ask. And there's a lot of, there's just a lot of drama, a lot of, what if I ask and I'm not received? What if I'm asked and they're not able to do that? What if I ask and I'm being a burden, or I'm being needy, or I don't look happy enough, or I don't have the right look on my face, or they assume something? And there's all this thing when we're asking for help. It's different when we're pulling ourselves up on the rock and we're doing everything ourselves. But when we're leaning into somebody else and we're asking for help, we're asking the universe for help, and then that help shows up. We had a couple situations like that. One, we were kind of lost and we said, we really need a map, right? Oh, I wish we had a map. And right after that, this guy shows up behind us. Really awesome guy, totally stoked that we ran into him. And I felt really good about that ask, because for me, it was the universe showing up and giving me exactly what I required, exactly what I needed in order to feel safe, even if Bear had it like taken care of, because there was actually quite a few twists and turns that we would not have known about at all if we hadn't ran into Thomas. So I'm hugely grateful for that, and for that universal ask to be there and show up, and the ability to receive that ask. That was a big deal when you're navigating, you don't know who that is, and you're just kind of trusting. And this can be relevant to business or anything else that you're doing. So being able to ask universe, ask your partner, ask somebody that you're with for something and receive it is huge when it comes to self-love. The other thing is being able to know when you shouldn't receive it, right? Trusting that gut instinct of, for our sake, like, do we go this way or do we go that way? And being able to be like, oh, I think this way and then that way, and then negotiate and really set your boundaries and know how much you can handle. There was points in this hike where I was like, I can't go that way. Like, I simply cannot go that way. Can we go a different route, right? And so we'd find another route and we'd go a different route, because either my legs or my anxiety or something wouldn't let me step over that. So setting those boundaries for myself and not trying to people please or impress Bear somehow that could have hurt me, right? Could have hurt us both. Helped me to get what I needed and navigate through those parts where I needed to set boundaries, I needed to receive, and I needed to just simply open up my heart to loving myself. The last thing that I really want to share about this journey and what it reflected with me with self-love is that sometimes you can love yourself so much that it's really, really challenging. And to be in situations when you're choosing self-love, where you are standing to be around people and situations, whether it's nature or the trust or meeting people. I mean, we met a guy right after we did the glacier. We went all the way up Reed Lakes. We went up and over the pass. We went and we saw the bomber, and then we were coming back and we were trying to find a grassy knoll, which we asked for a grassy knoll. We're like, if we don't see a grassy knoll right over this ledge right there, we're gonna come back and camp at this kind of windy place, but at least it was flat. We walked over and boom, literally in a pile of rocks everywhere, there was one perfectly circled grassy knoll for our campsite to be. So we looked at it and we're like, oh my gosh. Right after that, we're walking down to it. And this was like the sign from the universe of everything's okay. Comes up this guy with a margarita. And if you've known me, you know I love Mexico. You know I love margaritas. I love fresh margaritas with fresh lemon and fresh lime. And literally the pulp was in this margarita that this gentleman offered us. And we got some sips of margarita, and then we got to go set up our camp. It was like 10 o'clock at night. It was friggin' amazing. It was in this perfect circle in the morning. I did some singing and some chanting around it. And I'm just feeling this like vortex of energy of yes, that truly I believe got me through the next 12 hours of hiking that I did the next day up and down boulders, like massive boulders. So really, you're gonna get the signs that you need to keep expanding in the love that you have. But when that love isn't met, we feel a resistance. We feel an uneasiness. We feel a disenchantedness. We feel like a questioning and am I good enough kind of stuff. And that's when it's really important for you to be able to lean into what you desire, what you require, and how you can open up to steps 1 and 2, which is, what do you love? What do you like? What do you value? Boom, boom. 2, how can you feel the resistance of that? Are you leaning into that? Are you putting that into your life? And 3, where can you set your boundaries around that? Where can you act in that self-love in a bigger way and really allow yourself to notice the resistance without feeding into the story behind it. I hope that this video and my adventure helps you lean into what to expect when your heart is expanding. I'm going to go deeper into the next video about what happens when we do expand, because I believe that the more that I actually practice this, the more that I lean into what I desire and require and value, the more that I love myself no matter what situation is happening and lean into it, even if the negative stuff is happening, the old stories are happening. And 3, the more that I realize my capacity to love, to care, to open, to honor, and receive in this way, the bigger the value of this love is. And therefore, when we are going into relationship, which I'm going to talk about in the next video, and we're looking at that capacity of love has to be met. And so the game is bigger. Mwah. I love you so much. And I can't wait for our next conversation. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing this with your friends. Oh my gosh, like, it's kind of really cool. I'm excited we got our new URL, which is just YouTube channel, your own university, but it's so cool. And I want to appreciate that. And for more adventures, more love, more care, more about knowing you, turn on those notifications. Talk to you soon.